Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into the fascinating and frankly shocking science behind why our ultimate modern fantasy, having absolutely zero on the calendar, doing nothing but staring at a blank wall or doom scrolling on the couch, might actually be destroying us. We live in a culture that treats the completely empty day as the finish line. We think that if we can just strip away all our obligations, we'll finally find peace. But as we're about to see, the data tells a completely different story.
Think about this crazy paradox for a second. We constantly chase the weekend or look forward to retirement with zero plans, right? But when we actually get there, we often feel anxious, drained, and strangely unmoored. Far from feeling restored, an endless horizon of inactivity leaves us feeling hollow. We imagine we're stepping into a relaxing sanctuary, but what we're really stepping into is a vacuum. And human biology and psychology fundamentally abhors a vacuum.
Modern science proves just how much we despise this mental vacuum. In one unbelievable study, people were left alone in a room with absolutely nothing to do. And you know what happened? A significant number of them voluntarily chose to self-administer electric shocks rather than just sit quietly with their own unguided attention. No way, right? It's a chilling realization. Without a focused task, we literally succumb to internal entropy.
It all comes down to what psychologists call the flow paradox. The researcher Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi discovered that we are systematically wrong about what makes us happy. Before a weekend, we'll predict that doing absolutely nothing is going to be incredibly enjoyable. Yet when researchers measure our actual, momentary joy, we report much higher levels of happiness during effortful, structured, and challenging activities. It completely proves that human flourishing requires a feedback loop of action to build mastery, rather than just some state of weightless rest.
So let's break this down into a really critical distinction: rest versus idleness. Now, to be clear, nobody is condemning a good night's sleep or a beach vacation. Rest is an intentional, temporary break that restores our systems so we can return to action. You rest to recover. Idleness, however, is chronic and untethered. It's this aimless absence of purpose where you aren't recovering for anything, you're just drifting. And in that state, the lack of a goal causes our mental and physical muscles to literally wither away.
This brings us to a millennia-old consensus, an ancient warning about human nature.
Long before we had modern brain scans, ancient philosophers and major world religions independently realized that humans are action-oriented organisms. They were brilliant observers of human nature. Back in the 4th century BCE, Aristotle defined human flourishing, or eudaimonia, as an activity, not a state of rest. By the 1st century, Stoics like Seneca were warning that an unoccupied mind turns inward and becomes self-destructive. And a few centuries after that, early Christian monks were purposefully building structured labor into their days just to guard against the spiritual decay of empty time.
Those early monks even had a specific word for this decay: akadia, or the noonday demon. It was a spiritual boredom and listlessness so intense that modern experts actually consider it the first recorded clinical description of depression. It wasn't just physical laziness, it was an active rejection of one's purpose. It goes to show that a collapse of purpose doesn't just make us bored for an afternoon, it makes us deeply spiritually ill.
Okay, let's fast forward to the lethal science of stagnation and look at the modern data on rust out.
When you step into a modern lab, the danger goes from just feeling spiritually listless to literal, quantifiable mortality. It all starts in the brain. When you aren't engaged in a goal, your brain doesn't just power down like a laptop. It defaults to what neuroscientists call the default mode network. Now, while this network helps with creativity in small doses, chronic idleness causes it to go into absolute overdrive. It acts like a rumination trap, generating anxiety, regret, and negative self-referential thoughts. It scientifically confirms the old saying that an idle mind truly is the devil's workshop.
We hear about burnout all the time, right? That sheer exhaustion and physical decline from chronic overwork. But what scientists now call rust out, the stress, depression, and metabolic decline from chronic understimulation can be just as damaging and lethal to our biology. When the muscle of purposeful activity atrophies, the body quickly follows suit.
Want to put some hard numbers to that? A massive meta-analysis of 20 million people found that unemployment is associated with a staggering 63% higher risk of all-cause mortality. And here is the kicker: that risk persists even when financial needs are completely met. It tells us that the damage isn't just about losing a paycheck, it is a profound structural and psychological loss.
The retirement data is honestly just as sobering. A major study on Social Security data revealed that taking early unstructured retirement at exactly age 62 translates to roughly 11,000 additional deaths for men in the year following their retirement, compared to those who keep working even just a few months longer. Without a structure to replace the demands of a career, cognitive and physical decline accelerates rapidly.
On the flip side, staying in the game is incredibly protective. Having a high sense of purpose, often referred to in Japanese culture as ikigai, acts as a powerful buffer, lowering mortality risk by 20%. To give you some context on how massive that is, having a high sense of purpose is nearly twice as effective for your longevity as not smoking. That is absolutely wild. So, if we pull all this together into a grand synthesis, we get a unified theory of flourishing.
You'll see that every major domain arrives at the exact same conclusion. Whether you're a philosopher trying to avoid the atrophy of virtue, a monk fighting off despair, a neuroscientist looking at brain atrophy, or a sociologist tracking early mortality, they all agree. Human flourishing requires the resistance of meaningful effort. We need an optimal challenge in order to thrive.
Which brings us to our final section, the structural fix and engineering a purposeful life.
Because idleness is a structural vacuum, it demands a structural fix. You can't just rely on sheer willpower, and you can't just magically wish to be productive when you're staring down an empty calendar. Social psychologist Marie Jahoda hit the nail on the head when she identified 5 hidden benefits of structured engagement, which she called latent functions. They are time structure, social contact, collective purpose, status, and activity. We absolutely must consciously engineer these 5 things into our own lives, especially during our free time, our weekends, or retirement, to prevent our systems from decaying.
So what's the ultimate takeaway from all this data? It's pretty simple. Stillness is sacred, but stagnation is lethal. We have to move beyond this modern trap of passive consumption. True restoration is never found in the total abandonment of effort, but in aiming our energies toward worthwhile purposes. Motion, whether physical, intellectual, or relational, is the true price of a flourishing existence.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final question to really ponder. Look closely at your own schedule. Where are you currently mistaking passive leisure for genuine rest? Ask yourself how you might replace that dangerous empty vacuum with a challenge, a community role, or a learning pursuit that actually feeds your soul. Thank you for joining me, and I challenge you to go fill that empty calendar with something meaningful today.